Afternoon everybody, Christian here. Today I do have a word to share with you, and beforehand let me tell you I'm very proud of my daughter. She has just joined the Army Reserves. I believe that's the right group. Anyway, she will go to basic training next month, so yes, very pleased with that. Pays for her college, gets her in an environment where she will experience things she's not used to experiencing, right? And it'll make her a little more mature and a little more confident and all these other things. So that's cool. Also wanted to let you guys know that every about twice a week I go and check the mail to see what you guys have sent from regarding letters and things of that nature. Not a lot of people send letters. I don't want you guys to see the addresses, of course, but there are some, and we go and we check them a couple times a week. And my son, he's thrilled with that. He loves to go and check the mailbox. And I don't let him read the letters, of course, but he likes to look and see where the letters are from. And so we actually have one that comes from Hawaii. So I think the furthest away, only one person in Hawaii that sends us a letter. But every now and then we get a letter in the mailbox, and he's thrilled. I'm, of course, thrilled. I read your letters, and I am interested in your lives. Actually, there's somebody from Washington, and they send a letter. It's always the same. There's not a letter in it, and there's no address on it either. But I know this person simply because they always send it the same way, pretty much. And so whenever I see a letter postmarked from there, I'm like, okay, I know who this is. I don't know who it is, but I know it's this person. So I kind of get interested in your lives, and I hear your guys' stories, and then I pray about it, and then you guys maybe you send me another letter later, or maybe you don't, or whatever. But I'm still, I think about you guys, and I wonder, what's God doing in their lives now? Some parts I know because there'll be a word that God's spoken to me. I know it applies to you, but I don't know the details of it. Anyway, it's just something I want you to know. Your letters don't go unnoticed. I do appreciate them. Even those of you guys who give online in the comment section, sometimes some of you guys will actually use that and write something in there. I read those, and there was somebody last week, and they shared some information with about their life and what they're going through, and I just thought, man, this is the type of person that I want to be around. This is someone who's laying it on the line in their faith walk. Not just talking God, they're walking it. That just the way I view it. Imagine this piece of paper represented all the people, right? And then all of a sudden the Word of God is spoken to this group of people. When that happens, the group will automatically get split. There'll be those who just don't believe the Word of God. They say, no, I don't believe in a God, or I don't believe God speaks to man anymore, or whatever their rationale is. They won't hear. But then of that group that heard it, they get split further. There are those who apply the Word of God to their life, and those that don't. And that group has their reasons why they don't apply it as well, but it doesn't matter, because this is the only group that I want to be a part of. Anyway, this little thing that mattered to me. This week, I want to address some questions that I've been getting, and then I'll give you the prophetic word that I have for this week. But I'm going to do it in a different way than I typically do. I got comments for the past week or so regarding a video that I made, a very short video, a few weeks back. And in that video, for the first part of the video, I talk about fundamentaltrades.com, the website that I launched recently, and the stock market. And some of the comments are saying, Christian, stop talking about that website and stop talking about the stock market. And then they always wrap it with because we're missing out on the Word of God, because you're wasting time with this when you could be talking about the Word of God. In truth, I was telling you the Word of God. You just didn't hear it. I told you at the beginning, I didn't build this website to give it to you because I thought that was a good idea. I would not connect these two dots. I would not take what I do here and say, well, I'm going to share that with believers. That's not what I would have done. In fact, I never did it until God told me one day, do that. I want you to cross those streams. I said, okay, then I'll do it because you told me to. And I've told you in the past that this is something that you should have been studying on your own anyway, because I told you in the past that God said, whatsoever I do to you, I will do to the church. And God said, I'm giving you the stock market, which means he's giving you the stock market. And wouldn't you want to know how to use what he's giving you? I mean, if you don't know how to use it, you really can't use it, even though it's been given to you. My people perish for lack of knowledge. It wasn't that knowledge wasn't there, it's that they cast it behind their back. They didn't want it. I'm not going to waste your time telling you whatever you want to hear or making stuff up. I'm not like that. I don't waste my time or yours. If I make a video and I say this is important, I'm going to put it in the video, it's because it's important. God told me to put it in the video. One more detail. Some of you guys are thinking, Christian, I want to get into the stock market, but I don't have any money. I can't get into the stock market. A couple months ago, let me step back a little bit. I have 2 kids, as you guys probably know, live with me, and one of them's joined the military. But when she was young, we used to give her an allowance, keep her room clean, have a good attitude, do her homework, etc., etc. But basically, we really just wanted to give them a little bit of money so they could start to learn how to manage money. And so every week you give them a little allowance. Well, with my daughter, you give her $5 and she'll squirrel it away, and next time you see her, she'll still have that $5 and she'll have amassed more from she saves. She's really good at that. She doesn't spend very much. My son, on the other hand, he's the kind of guy, you give him $5 on a Friday, you ask him Friday night where that $5 is at, he can't tell you. It's gone. Sometimes it's just laying on his floor. Other times he's spent it. Money's just designed to pretty much be spent in his mind. And so we started looking at different ways to solve this problem with him. And we talked to him a little bit and say, hey, if you'd save it like your sister does, you'd have more and you'd be able to buy things that are more expensive than $5 down the road, or that type of thing. And he might try it for a week or two, but sure enough, before too long, he was right back to square one. And finally, I got tired of that. About 2 months ago, I sat him down and said, okay, look, this is an Excel spreadsheet. This is where you're at. This is, how much you were just now given. And if you continue to behave as you are, you're just going to continuously stay at that level. You're always going to have $5 be broke, have $5 be broke, so forth and so on. And so I started explaining to him, you save $1, and then next week you won't have 5, you'll have 6. And then you save $1 from that, and then you will have 7 the week after, and so forth and so on. He immediately caught it. He could visualize it. He saw his graph going up. He was pleased. He wanted to save everything. But then I explained to him, look, if you save everything, then you're not going to be able to go out and give to the church. You're not going to be able to go and enjoy a little bit of, a drink or whatever with your friends. So you don't want to do that. You want to allow yourself a little, because you've worked. You've done what you're supposed to do to get the allowance, and you want to enjoy that, the fruit of your labor. I had the phone over there. Anyway, but you'd also want to save and be able to see your wealth grow. So he starts to do this. And after a few weeks of doing this, he came to me and he was somewhat frustrated because he said, Dad, I've only got $5 allowance and I'm too young to get a job. And he's 10. So I started telling him about Warren Buffett. If you've not read it and you've got lots of time on your hands, and interested in it, it's a great story. I started explaining to him about Warren Buffett and how he started when he was a kid and learned how to save and invest and so forth and so on. And I told him about some businesses that Warren Buffett had used, some ideas that he had used when he was a kid. And so my son immediately latched on to the idea of buying drinks at the store and then selling them individually for a profit. A little more so you can have profit. So he goes down to the local store here. He'll purchase 2 6-packs for $5, and he'll turn around and sell a single drink to his mom or me or his sister or her friends for $1 a piece. And so he starts making this money, and now he's making more money doing that business than he makes on his allowance, which I'm fine with because he's learning a principle. I don't care, as long as he's learning. I'm happy. Then he comes to me one day and he says, Dad, I want to buy a stock, because he sees that I buy stock and that makes sense to him, so he wants to be big and do this thing. So I said, okay, great, this is an opportunity to start to educate him in this area. So I started telling him, all right, go around the house, look for different things that you think you could find a publicly traded company behind, And so he goes through and he finds a couple of things, and I say, yeah, that is publicly traded. The company's XYZ, and I explains a little bit about this and that with him. And then I started to open his eyes to see that there are actually companies out there that you use their product all the time, but you just don't recognize they are backed by a publicly traded company, such as his Xbox and things of that nature. So he starts thinking, oh, okay, he gets more excited about it, and he learns a little bit more. And finally, we go through a process of looking online for various different companies that he wants to, he just looks up ticker symbols and kind of gets a little bit of understanding of what the company does and how they make their money. And then we started to look at various different situations. Now, I didn't go into all of the balance sheets with him. He's 10, so I don't walk that path with him yet. But just explain to him, this is the company. I've looked at their financials. They are strong. We like the long-term prospects of this company. And you're 10, so long-term works for him. So anyway, finally he settles on a company and he buys one share. And then he builds up some more money. He buys another share. I paid the commission for him. So he's got these 2 shares of this company now, and I started to explain to him, now you're getting a dividend from this company because they made money, they pay a dividend, so now your money increases even more. So you take, in 2 months' time, he's gone from being broke to now he has learned how to save. He has a savings account. He also started his own business, and now he's investing in other businesses. And he has knowledge that he's mastered in this 2 months' time period. And today, he's got roughly $15 in cash, $50 in stock, and I don't really know how much he has in inventory. So, you see how a little education took this kid who had zero, and had zero for a long period of time, and immediately started to increase his net worth. Just because he started to apply himself in the area of discipline and education. It's really important. Whatsoever God does to me, he does to the church. That's a word that the Lord spoke to me a long time ago, and I shared with you. But I've also told you that, as the Lord told me, I'm going to give you the stock market. Well, if you want to take advantage of that word that is spoken to you too, you have to educate yourself. If you go into the stock market with no knowledge, you're just going to burn your money. It's just going to be separated from you really quickly. So you need to actually go through the process and start just building your understanding, your knowledge, and your discipline and developing. And if a 10-year-old kid with a $5 a month or a $5 a week allowance can actually start to amass wealth in the stock market, I don't see why anybody else can't. I mean, yeah, there could be some weird scenario where you can't, but pretty much if you want to, you'll find a way, So just want to share that with you. I'm not really sure what all you can glean from that, but just sharing it with you. So the prophetic word that I have this week is one word. And I was out and I was praying, and I just heard this one single word from the Lord. And it was share. Typically, after I give you a prophetic word, I expound it. But this week, in my spirit, the Lord is saying, don't. Just give them the word. And those who have ears to hear will hear. And those who don't, won't.